Well, the motions to quash today are arguing that we shouldn't have a evidentiary hearing at all, and that quashal is appropriate on those grounds. So to that end, in studying the law that's been filed up to this point, I think it's clear that disqualification can occur if evidence is produced demonstrating an actual conflict or the appearance of one. And the filings submitted on this issue so far have presented a conflict in the evidence that can't be resolved as a matter of law. Specifically looking at Defendant Roman's motion, it alleges a personal relationship that resulted in a financial benefit to the district attorney, and that is no longer a matter of complete speculation. The state has admitted a relationship existed, and so what remains to be proven is the existence and extent of any financial benefit.
In this round, here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
You know, Quanell, in a very restrained ruling last week, Judge McAfee declared that Fani Willis, the prosecutor in Fulton County, Georgia, is either required to remove Nathan Wade, her lover, her married lover, who she hired and paid hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to. I mean, I think it was an unbelievable, like 600 grand. Very high paid, highest paid prosecutor I've ever heard of in my life, and then took that money and lavished it on her. And it appears that they have lied about a number of things, right? When the relationship started, how the money was spent. Almost an absurd caricature of justice. The judge said, look, you can either stay on Fani, and you can fire Nathan Wade, or you can remove him from the case, or we have to take it away from you. And I think he followed the law very well. I think he acknowledged later, we played a clip, but I think later on he made it very clear that there were some serious issues with Fani's leadership of the district attorney's office that could be taken up elsewhere, whether the General Assembly there in the state or the bar. I mean, there's a number of things, and it does look like perjury might have been committed, but none of this has much to do with Donald Trump, right? None of this has much to do with the efficacy of the RICO prosecution of him, but it very well may gravely delay it. I think the only case that might go to trial this year is the one in New York, where Alvin Bragg, the district attorney in Manhattan, has asked for a delay because he got 73,000 more documents from the feds. It's crazy times. I think Fani should have been removed. I think we've got to expect our public servants to have a higher level of integrity than everyone else.
Charles, I do not believe that Fani Willis will remain on this case, whether she likes it or not. Okay. You know, they just passed a law in Georgia a few weeks back that gave the Assembly the power to remove prosecutors. Right. And so I believe they did that going after Fani Willis. All she had to do was be smart, be wise, and intelligent. When it was discovered you made a bad decision putting your lover as point man against the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, the former president, what she should have done was removed herself and him, especially before you get on the stand. And the judge spoke about how unprofessional she was. The judge referenced about the great lapse in judgment that she showed. But also, I agree with you. You and I both know some perjury took place on that stand.
Oh, absolutely.
And I believe that the state bar is going to come after her. And I also believe that the governor is going to remove Fani Willis and send it to another county.
So we also have the issue, did you see where during this hearing weeks ago, she got up at the pulpit at her house of worship and claimed that her identity as an African-American female should shield her from this criticism.
And this ain't got a damn thing to do with her race.
Nothing to do with it.
At all.
Right? And I mean, at the end of the day, it does seem like there has been some unseemly relationship between the Biden administration and funding given to Fulton County and Fani Willis.
Well, the part that needs to come out that nobody's really talking about, these private meetings that Fani Willis had with the Biden administration in D.C. In D.C. Before she brought these charges. It looks like the Biden administration and President Biden himself helped direct this prosecution of Donald Trump by meeting privately a number of meetings that she refuses to disclose about this case before she indicted Donald Trump. I mean, all of this doesn't pass the smell test.
Well, we're looking like more and more like on the world stage, like what was referring to Central America, a banana republic, right? where you have a government that uses the criminal justice system to silence opposition. It is a barb that the Western journalists, especially in America, use to condemn Putin. And I think Putin's a horrible monster of a human, right? But when we are doing the same thing, when we are trying to imprison the leader of one of the two political parties, and no one's really dug into the Obama administration's digging into the Trump campaign and snooping on the Trump campaign, which made Watergate seem like no one's talking about it. We talk about Biden, came out, Biden broke the law, Biden's lying about it being exonerated. We talk about Hillary Clinton breaking the law, and we had the head of the FBI say that no reasonable prosecutor would bring this case, but we have Donald Trump looking at, what, like 90 indictments and hundreds of years in prison. The man ain't shot nobody. He ain't molested no kids.
Right.
And yet we're talking about centuries in prison, and it does seem like we're trying to silence a voice. Now, I also think Donald Trump poses a huge danger to America. But the whole scheme, though. But so does Biden.
But guess what? I think we both have to agree, let the American people make that decision.
Right.
Don't weaponize your positions as politician and your offices and then prosecute those who you feel are your adversaries or your counterparts and those who represent a counterparty.
But
don't use your power to prosecute like that.
It does look like, because I've looked at all this litigation, it does look like crimes were committed by Trump and his henchmen in Georgia. Georgia-specific crimes, right?
But a criminal shouldn't be allowed to prosecute a criminal. But a criminal should not be allowed to prosecute a criminal.
Fani already had guilty pleas. Fani had the best case, and she ruined it. She would be one of the most famous prosecutors. Nathan Wade would have probably rode the coattails instead.
But her boy toy had to be paid.
Married boyfriend. They look like a couple of clowns, and it's horrible for America.
I'm angry with Fani because she knew she shouldn't have paid Nathan all that money.
She should have paid it to you, huh, Cornell?
Hey, Fani.